Good morning, Wood Ticks and Patriots. Welcome to the Just Jim Show from beautiful Lake Wish I Be Gone here in the bunker. We hope you're having a good day, but if you listen to us, you may not have a good day. I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's been a while. Excuse my absence. I have been had some medical issues. I'm still recovering, so if I kind of bumble around, you know, it's part and parcel. It's been a long road to recovery for me, and but I'm feeling better, getting stuff done around here at the bunker, and we hope you are too, having a good summer. It's supposed to be 81 degrees out today at the lake, and I intend to get outside and do some stuff after I do this. I have some stuff that I think you're going to be interested in now, and I'm going to start the show off today in just 60 seconds. We're going to talk about the White House and the activist that was daring enough, had the cojones, I think, not sure. We're going to talk about Tucker Carlson, Karine Jean-Pierre. That's an old story, but it's still newsworthy because nobody else talks about it. We will. I got a letter from somebody over at the Sun, the New York Sun. Isn't that interesting? They're begging over at the New York Sun. And Adam Schiff makes an announcement, and he's kind of hedgehogging the announcement. We're going to talk about VPNs, virtual private networks, that were buffering. What the heck is going on? Oh, that's my... sorry, I'm going to have to get out of this. Yeah, this is going nuts. Anyways, we'll be back in 60 seconds. And welcome back to the show. Glad you could join me today. Today, actually 2 days ago, the White House, Sniffin' Joe, as I call him. God, I'm buffering. What is going on here? Not cool. I don't know what's going on. I'll have to keep an eye on this. If I'm buffering out there, I don't mean to. But there's been some changes since I was on the air last time. And it may be my connectivity. But anyway, there's been some controversy over the flying of 3 flags at the White House, which we'll get into in just a minute. But the transgender activist is no longer welcome at the White House after going topless at a Biden event. Sniffin' Joe. It's like a... drag show. I guess they use the White House lawn to make their opinions known. Rose Montoya is no longer welcome at the White House events after posting on social media a video of herself and two others going topless for a time at Saturday's Pride Month celebration on the South Lawn. Now, the behavior is simply unacceptable, White House Press Secretary Jean-Pierre said Tuesday. It's unfair to the hundreds of attendees who were there to celebrate their families. And, of course, we do have a picture in all of their whatever pride. But you can see the flags in the background. There were two American flags and one star-spangled, whatever it is, flavor of the day. And if you look very closely, and if you know anything about the U.S. flag code, which a lot of people do not know, I don't know if anybody, half of my listening audience even has read the U.S. flag code. There are some very interesting parts within the code. Pardon me, this is all part of my recovery process. I'm sniffling and coughing, so I'll make my apologies up front. The White House spokesman, I'm going back to the flag code in just a minute. The White House spokesman said the bare-chested display, quote, was not a normal thing that has happened under this administration. Since this guy hung himself in a jail cell, I guess there's not a lot of normalcy anywhere anymore. President Biden hosted the event to show the administration's support of LGBTQ plus XYZ ABC community. There has recently been a push by some Republican leaders at the state level to restrict drag shows and limit the options for youth who are seeking to transition their genders. Which is, we probably should just do a show on that issue alone, which kind of leads to another story I'm going to get to in a little bit. And it's up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where school boards are going amok. Anyway, Biden said Saturday that he had a message for the entire community, but especially for transgender children. You're loved, quote unquote. You're heard, you're understood, and you belong. So be it. Parts of the speech appeared on a video posted on social media by Montoya, whose Instagram biography identifies her as an educator. Is that school board? A teacher, a model, and an actor. Those three things, it makes me wonder. An educator, a model, does she model as a male or a female or a they, it, them, whatever it is the logos require, and an actor. And my question is she, he, it acting the part of a whatever wannabe, whatever it is? I don't know. But self-admittedly, there's some confusion in the midst of this whole thing. Montoya defended her post on Instagram and Twitter, and both Twitter. Elon Musk is there, saying that going topless in Washington, D.C. is legal, and I fully support the movement of freeing the nipple. So, until you're trans, and I'll bet there's a conversation about men going topless versus women going topless. At some point, there, depending upon the weight of the male, there could be a like similarity. She's don't make me laugh. She said critics of her topless affirmed that she is in fact a woman, as a man would not have faced similar pushback, hence my comments. She said he had zero intention of trying to be vulgar or profane in any way. And I, as a man, I'm all for it. She said she had zero intention of being vulgar or profane in any way, adding she covered her nipples with her hands in the video just to play it safe. Okay, I get what's going on. I do. The discussion's going to go on for a long time, I'm sure. Yet, I guess I'll stop that conversation simply with, why a month? What's going on with a month? 30 days, 28 days, 31 days? If you got something to say, give me an email right on the screen down there. Why a month? What's going on with a month? I get Father's Day. I get Grandparents' Day. There's Mother's Day. There's Sweetest Day. But not a whole month. Comedically speaking, I know a few people who celebrate their birthday for a whole month. I get that. Yeah. It's happy birthday month. It's happy birthday every day for those people. And, I guess you take a month, you take a month. It is what it is. But a month, and the insanity of it, in my opinion, editorializing here, the insanity of it goes to the leadership of the White House with its displays, the governor's mansion in Wisconsin, discussion, and like I said about the flag code, you need to read it and understand it and then get some balls. The governor of the state of Wisconsin, Governor Evers, has 3 flags on 1 flagpole. If you read the code, 2 flags are authorized to fly on the same pole. Interpretation, not. Spells it out. The 3rd flag cannot fly on there. U.S. flag, state flag, not a flag. Not there. And they can't be the same size as the U.S. flag. Has anybody ever read the U.S. flag code? Hence, I'm going to say, the local post came out and said that Waukesha DMV had the same thing going on. And I looked at the picture that was posted, and I'm going to say that the quote-unquote pride flag was larger than the U.S. flag. I'll bet it was lower than the U.S. flag. That's a violation, a strict violation of the U.S. flag code. It is punishable by a ticket and a monetary fine. If you get up off your couch potato asses and go find a sheriff and issue the complaint, the sheriff should be doing it anyway. You want to back the blue? Make sure they get up and do their jobs. I know everybody's busy and they're going to piss in my pond for pissing at the lawn for LEO. But I'm going to tell you that in the scheme of indictments recently and the push to deplatform certain ideals and ideas, I'm going to say the only way that you're going to ever start to reclaim anything is by pushing the existing law. I've said for 10 years on the air, if you don't like a law, change the law. Don't just violate it. Figure out what you need to do to change the law. That is the American way. Oh, the American dream? Yeah, wait. We have a southern border that's being influenced by hundreds of thousands of people that claim they want to have the American way, except when they get here. You're going to get me going. The DMV, whoever's running the Waukesha, Wisconsin DMV, needs to be held accountable for violating the U.S. flag code. His ass is not bigger than the U.S. flag code. I'm going to ask 100 vets to stand up and go by law, you can reclaim the U.S. flag. Go find a sheriff who will help you reclaim that U.S. flag because it's being flown illegally because of the 3rd flag. And Evers out in Madison thinks it's A-OK. And he's telling everybody, you got to fly the pride flag. Not on my U.S. flagpole with the state or the never forgotten flags. There's only a couple flags that can fly in the same pole, and they can't be the same size. And if you look at this picture right here, what size difference is there in the background between those flags? And it never should be in the center of the U.S. flag. Nothing flies to the right of the U.S. flag. It gets posted to the left. Again, read the flag code and then hold these sons of bitches accountable. How else are you ever going to keep America, America? God, we just had Memorial Day. It's not about burning brats and having beers and getting sunburned. It's how about it some remembrance? You crank my ass going when this stuff hits the news, and you can't wait for NBC, ABC, all the local big boys. Oh, look at what he's doing on the White House lawn. And then this shows up, topless. So be it. Put some power pasties on and call yourself liberated. Keep it in your home. I don't care. But not on my lawn. It's my lawn. He's just there renting it. And I'm getting really sick and tired of it when people use their platform, their elected positions to do blah, 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 because they have a personal political agenda. That's no different than Adam Schiff. Hey, I'm going to jump ahead in stories right here. Political agendas. Adam Schiff, you know the slime ball. Yes, that's my opinion of him, and I have every right to have an opinion. Adam Schiff, who is by far the most polarizing partisan representative, is a fierce opponent of President Trump and a proponent of many outrageous conspiracy theories. Oh, conspiracy. I'll bet you $1 to a dime he was a pro-Russian influence during the election. Well, the Russians did it. Yeah. He had been using his position as chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. If that isn't an oxymoron, him an intelligence committee head? Where's the intelligence quotient? To leak information to the press in an effort to damage the reputation of the president and other Republicans. Now, with the Democrats out of power in the House, are they really? Look at the last couple of votes. Now with the Democrats out of power in the House, Schiff has hinted at possibly running for U.S. Senate when Dianne Feinstein retires. They're going to wheel her out. She didn't even know why Camel Toe Harris was in there. What's she doing here? During an interview over the weekend, Schiff said that he seriously considered running for the Senate when Senator Dianne Feinstein, who is now 89 years old, eventually retires in 2021. Feinstein filed the necessary paperwork to run for re-election in 24. But that was before all of this happened, this latest bit with her. And indicating she may still be planning on staying in her post. Well, her husband gets to get the contract to sell all the old U.S. post offices. I wonder how that happened years ago. I think you would agree that it would really be best as if both of these liberals nuts leave office and don't come back. Who wrote this? Wait a minute. This is a staff writer. Schiff said, quote, "Well, I'm not usually asked the question in that form. Look, I'm getting a lot of encouragement to run for the Senate from people in California and colleagues here in Congress. If Senator Feinstein retires, well, then I'll give it very serious consideration. At this point, I think we're waiting to see if Senator Feinstein has to say about her plans. But yes, it's something I'm giving serious consideration to." Adam Schiff's potential candidacy for the U.S. Senate is concerning. Is it really? I'm going to tell you, his past behavior while leading the House Intelligence Committee and his willingness to leak information in order to smear an ex-president and other Republicans is troubling. They're just suggestions. These rules of committees, they're just suggestions. Don't worry yourself about it. It's like a stop and go light. Just a suggestion. If elected as senator, there are legitimate fear that he would continue to push certain agendas without any regard for facts or even democracy itself, which would only lead to a further division within Congress. But if he goes to Senate, it won't be in Congress anymore unless he cracks the congressional whip. I don't know. It's it's more than concerning when you have a group of, I'll be honest, my editorial opinion is libtards. They're wood ticks. They latch on to something and they suck it dry. That's why I call everybody good morning wood ticks and patriots. There's only two kinds right now. You're sucking something that other people work for, or you're a patriot, you get up, go do your job. Long story short, it goes on and on and on. We'll be right back after a little commercial break. Enjoy the show. Well, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that little break. I know I do, or did. Let's turn our attention to, sorry, I keep looking over the other screen. Let's turn our attention to an older story. This was in November of 22 happened. Yeah, it's old news, Jim. No, it's really not, because nobody talked about it. And this is the stuff, again, we talk about things that have gone on or are going on. And nobody else seems to give a hoot. Jean-Pierre, whatever she calls herself, I don't know. Back in November, somewhere I have a picture of her. I don't think I got it up. Long story short, you know who she is. Yeah. She violated the Hatch Act. This was a watchdog group. It's violating the Hatch Act in an inappropriate attempt to influence the vote. Now, another discussion, and we're not talking anything other than slip of the lip, as they say. Back in 22, a government watchdog found that White House press secretary violated the Hatch Act ahead of the 2022 midterm elections. This is NBC reported, but I don't remember seeing it on the news, because that would have been something that would have caught my ear. In a Wednesday letter obtained by the network, the official Office of Special Counsel accused the press secretary of violating a law prohibiting federal employees from using their official capacity to influence elections. According to the group, she broke the policy when she made a disparaging comment about conservatives. Who are they? Including repeatedly referring to them as MAGA Republicans during press briefings. Oh, the MAGA. Anna Marone, the head of the government's watchdog, Hatch Act unit wrote in last week's letter, that was back in November, because Miss Pierre made the statements while acting in her official capacity, she violated the Hatch Act, prohibiting against her using official authority or influence for the purpose of interfering with an effect or affecting the results of an election. Can't do that. That's what they're saying, the Hatch Act. But again, it's just a suggestion. We write all these laws, all these people in the House and the Senate, they write these laws, quote unquote, but they're really just suggestions, guidelines. You're not supposed to do this stuff. Stay within the lines, The letter quoted an instance where she said mega Republican officials who don't believe in the rule of law. Wait a minute. The rule of law. What the hell is that? It's just suggestions. There's no law to a Democrat. Maybe to a Republican there's a law, but not to a Democrat. Protect the Public Trust, a conservative watchdog group, filed a complaint against the press secretary for the November comments, referring to them as remarks as inappropriate attempt to influence the vote. Well, the Office of Special Counsel, they set all these people up. They give them big offices and a big title. Yeah. Said that, or she agreed that Jean-Pierre violated the Hatch Act group. The group decided to close the matter without further action. Is that typical? It's like a laptop. It's like boxes in a garage next to the bathroom, but the bathroom door is locked. I just don't get these suggestions anymore. We have decided not to pursue disciplinary action and have instead issued her a warning letter. It's, quote unquote, it's unclear whether OCS's contrary analysis regarding the use of MAGA Republicans, it wasn't MAGA Republicans, it was Mega Magan. Mega Mag, say that 5 times fast, was ever conveyed to Miss Pierre. Pierre frequently cites the Hatch Act to avoid answering questions. So I guess she knows what the Hatch Act is, but not how to not violate it. Yeah, she keeps avoiding questions from members of the press regarding President Biden's re-election campaign. A White House spokesman said Andrew Bates, as has been made clear throughout the administration, we take the law seriously and uphold the Hatch Act. We're reviewing this opinion. Additionally, the Biden administration claimed the Republicans had often used MAGA and Make America Great Again for official purposes during the Trump administration. The difference between me saying, I can't say this on the air, well, maybe I can. If I call me a SOB, I can call me an SOB, but you can't. Michael Chamberlain, former Trump administration official and head of Protect the Public Trust, slammed the government watchdog's decision not to take disciplinary action against the press secretary. Quote unquote, this episode illustrates exactly what people hate about Washington, D.C., and why they increasingly distrust the Biden administration's promise to be the most ethical in history, end quote. Isn't that interesting? But again, they're just suggestions. The Hatch Act was a law used to pillory previous administrations, but officials now appear content to sweep it under the rug. It doesn't apply here. It doesn't. My taking boxes and boxes of documents home, putting them in a garage in my summer home where I store my vet, that's not a violation. Don't worry about it. Yeah, they all love it. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about, among other things, a guy by the name of Tucker Carlson. Y'all know who he is, what happened to him over at, NBC? Or Fox. That was it, Fox. He started, recently, he's, he got fired. Now he got asked to leave. Again, it was just a suggestion. Maybe you shouldn't be here anymore. recently, Fox sent a cease and desist order to Tucker Carlson. Y'all know what a cease and desist order is? I'll tell you. Here's just a little insight into my company's past. Remember when 14 Democrats left the state of Wisconsin? A number of years back. And they refused to assemble. Some went to Illinois. Some went to Illinois. They came back to Eagle River, Wisconsin, to a grandma's toy box shop. Then they went back to Illinois. We sent a cease and desist order to the sergeant at arms. You know who he is? No, I don't remember his name, but it's a job. And every job in America has a job description. And the job of the sergeant at arms, besides, like he does it at the house when the president makes an entrance, he clears the path and walks the president in. His job is also to maintain law and order in the house. And he is the one that issues the order to assemble. Oh, novel idea. Not that hard. Today's meeting agenda is XYZ. You got to show up. But then when Governor Walker was in office, the sergeant at arms, apparently he got my cease and desist order, and with the order of remedy to go get the damn Democrats in Illinois and bring them home, put them forcibly in cuffs if need be. That was his job. Didn't happen. Oh, we got to politically go blah, 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 and try and coax them back to the office after they make their point. Wrong, bucko. You should have never gotten paid for his. If you don't do your job when you go to work, what, you get a paycheck? Probably not. You probably get fired. Then you go look for a new job. Sergeant at arms is one of the most underestimated jobs in America's political structure. Now, anyway, and that order was just, he got it, but didn't do anything about it. So it doesn't matter. We, the people, don't matter. Fox News has sent a cease and desist letter to Tucker Carlson amid the popular broadcasting's release of 2 monologue-type commentary videos on Twitter. This is coming out of Axios. My friend and client, Tucker Carlson, will not be silenced by the far left or Fox News. Attorney Harmeet Dhillon tweeted Monday morning, appending a link to the piece on Axios covering the cease and desist letter sent to Carlson by the network. And right on the top of the cease and desist order, Fox puts on there, not for publication. Oh, that's again just a suggestion. Here it is. Dhillon went on to explain that Fox News is not a place for her until the network stops trying to silence Tucker. She added she has friends still under the contract at Fox and that she feels for them. So apparently there's this flux of libtardness going on at Fox. And everybody's like, oh, Fox, that's my conservative news source. Maybe not. I'm passionately committed to free speech and a free flow of information necessary for a free society, she said. Yep. All right. Geez, now this is screwing up. Oh, Lordy. It's been so long since I've been on. Apparently it's not working.
Uh-oh. 2 independent thought alarms in one day.
There you go. The popular liberty-minded lawyer was not done there. However, she urged Congress, influencers, and top GOP officials to carefully consider decisions about appearing on the network, she says, which has caved to the pressure of silence Tucker Carlson. What you're seeing on Fox today is a censored version of the news, she said. Tucker Carlson and Fox News parted ways April 21st. The network suffered deeply plummeting ratings. Have you seen that? Have you looked at the ratings that Fox News has? Yeah, not very good. Carlson appeared on April 26th in a short video calling out the faults of the major media. June 6th, Carlson posted on the platform, Episode 1, and amassed more than 114.8 million viewers. Episode 2, released June 8th, had nearly 55 million viewers, which was more than what Fox was drawing. And it was mislabeled as Tucker on Twitter, apparently. Elon Musk noted on May 9th that Twitter had not signed any deal with any kind of whatsoever with Carlson. Although Tucker now has a new deal with Vitality Labs, CBD gummies. So he's made a deal, and y'all know he's going to be on Twitter. Hence, Elon decided to elongate the ability to stream directly to Twitter, of which I've had some notations that perhaps I should be going over there. I looked at Rumble. We've looked at a number, Truth, whatever, Trump's place. The streaming options are not necessarily really the greatest. I'll bet I'll bite my lip or my tongue. But so Tucker's going to go do, everybody knew he was going over to Twitter, which I guess is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, those of you who are in the know in IT, which most average Americans are not. This came out the other day. When was this? This was 14th. Has to do with, and this one came out over compmagazine.com, give credit to them, cybersecurity. During last couple of years have been really bad, and everybody has, as in companies, have made people or suggested that people not come to the office, stay home and work. We'll figure out how to make your connectivity. Along with that thought comes security issues. And I've been a proponent and a seller of Trend Micro. I'm not anymore, but we used to deal in Trend Micro products. I carry certificates in cybersecurity, among other things. And VPNs are virtual private networks. They mask where your IP. If you don't know what an IP is, your IP is your house address, only for your computer and your online activities. And people can see your IP number relatively easy by logging on and doing a whois to your chat thing or whatever you're doing. So it's kind of not secret where you go, what you do, and Google is so far up your you-know-whats that they know everything you're doing just about. And everybody seems to be very accepting of what it is they're doing. But there's a whole new discussion of AI, or artificial intelligence, and where it's heading and how fast it's getting there. And the average consumer doesn't have a clue about what tracking cookies, the ability for Google and other organizations to track your data, where you go, what you do. You ever notice, excuse me, if you are on like Facebook or something and you do a chit chat, or you see one of the ads come up and you click on it and you go over and check out the product, even if you don't buy anything, you go over there and check out what's being advertised to you. That's your username and address, email address, are kind of public information because you're there. Well, Facebook is free. If it's free, it's for me. Not necessarily a good thing for a lot of the time, but virtual private networks, or VPNs, were gaining in popularity over the last 2-3 years because of that distance gap between an employee and the home office. You log in and sometimes they make supposedly a secure connection. How secure is it? Well, we're going to talk about that. A popular free VPN app downloaded hundreds of millions of times in both Mac and Android. Excuse me, my recovery's still here. Has suffered another data leak exposing a strategic number of user records, which is, while you're not being tracked by Google, you're being tracked by your virtual private network company. And apparently they've been hacked. Security researcher Jeremy Fowler recently discovered 133 gigabyte treasure trove containing over 360 million records of sensitive information. Excuse me. When you log into your VPN, and I have them here, some things I use them on, some things I don't. When you log into your VPN supplier, they're the ones that keep your records. Now, the affected cross-platform VPN app, or Super VPN, has over 100 million downloads across, wait a minute, Google Play, Apple App Store, and other markets. So we talk about Google. We want to get away from them tracking you. Guess who's knows that you downloaded a VPN? Oh, the breach revealed that Super VPN stored logs despite its no log policy. Again, it's just a suggestion. You buy something or get it for free, we never track you, raising concerns about similar free VPNs. The free VPN data leak exposed identifiable user information, such as their original IP address, which is right here, my IP address, email addresses. Guess what? You got to use an email to sign up to get a free VPN. And geological information. Who's your provider? Where are you located? They know where you are. That's why you get personalized ads when you go on Facebook. Oh, they got XYZ City, Home Depot. It's going to shove an ad at you because they collect the data of who and what, where you are. The leaked information could also expose users' online activities, putting them at risk of spying, hacking, or even prosecution. So if you're going someplace you maybe don't want to be going, la-di-da, maybe the VPN information is there and it gets leaked. Yeah. God, that's another story from way back when. As more people around the world care about data privacy or try to bypass censorship, they often use a VPN. This is a prime example of what data could be captured, shared with governments, or exposed in the event of a data breach. How do you think people uncover? We talk about a laptop and activities that went on or didn't go on while using a laptop, talking to some other person. That's being recorded or by data, not necessarily by pictures, photos, or anything else, but the data of who, what, why, where, when is X's and O's and recorded or possibly saved by companies that like to hang out and, do their thing. Super VPN has a long history of insecurity. We're not going to belabor this too much, but in May of 22, Super VPN was listed alongside Chat VPN and Gecko VPN in another VPN data leak that exposed 21 million users' records. In April 22, Google removed Super VPN after discovering vulnerabilities that could enable man-in-the-middle, MITM, man-in-the-middle attacks, meaning somewhere between your phone or your home computer and wherever you're going, somebody gets in the middle and figures out who, what, why, where, when. VPN also found that Super VPN free VPN client app could expose users to credit card details, putting them at risk of online fraud. In 2016, slightly before the lockdowns, remember this now, this was a heyday for VPNs during the lockdowns. You had to have your education, your Zoom meetings, your this, your that, either by going through a VPN or a secure website that wasn't necessarily secure. 2016, Australian researchers listed Super VPN, which had only 10,000 downloads, as a malware rigged and advised users to delete the app. Your antivirus software is supposed to pick up on malware, which is stuff that either embeds cookies on your computer that follows wherever you go. Facebook is known for that. They have quote-unquote apps and cookies that track you when you leave Facebook. They know where you're going. They're called cookies, and they don't get served with milk. So a free VM app cloaked in mystery. Follower noticed many confusing details about SuperVPN. He found that despite having similar logos on Android, the app is listed as developed by two entities. Two sleuths writing the code. Google Play Store, SuperVPN, was credited to Supersoft Tech, while Quigagdo Li Hungdong Network Technology developed the iOS, iPad, and Mac apps. Oh, is there a connection between those two companies? Wait a minute. Oh, that sounded like a Chinese company. Oh. The researcher identified another company, Changzhou Lu Bakun Network Technology, referenced in a data leak. It's they keep going on and linked to Storm VPN, Luna VPN, Radar VPN, Rocket VPN, and Ghost VPN. Ghostery, I think that's the same company. The researchers stated the data leak underscored the need for users to understand why choosing a trustworthy and reputable service is important for your privacy in more ways than just your internet activities, which is absolutely true. Follower highlighted various red flags users should identify when choosing virtual private networks. For example, in 2020, researchers discovered that SuperVPN sent data over an insecure HTTP connection, putting users at risk of man-in-the-middle attacks. The difference between when you go to your bank, you should look at your browser bar and it'll say HTTPS. That is a secure site. If it's just HTTP : // it is unprotected-ish. Similarly, users should be cautious when using a VPN app developed by entities in an authoritarian mass surveillance state with an iron grip on the country's internet. Oh, who would that be? Russia, China, North Korea? Excuse me. If and America's turning into this authoritarian, I can't spit it out today, authoritarian state, where government state with Twitter was, not Twitter. What was it? The one, it's not Twitter, but the other one, where it's being banned by government computers and users on their phone while at work. I forget what it was. I can't remember right now. It'll come to me. They and certain states will not ban them from use on state-owned equipment. I don't know why, because it's very obvious that the originating code writing authorities, they say they're not doing this, but wait a minute. This is a whole story on VPNs, which are supposed to secure your connection. And they're not. They're devious at best. Or they're not smart enough to be in the VPN business. They have ulterior motives. That's for them and kind of people over my pay grade to figure out. End of that story. We will be right back. Okay, welcome back. I don't know how long I'm going to be on. I may not stay on for another hour. We're pushing the limits of my personal recovery limits. But we're going to pick up on a follow-up that's kind of on the same vein as the VPN story we just talked about. Whereas the last 2 years have been work at home, and now a lot of companies are saying, well, maybe we need you to come back to the office. Hey, if you got some news, the parallel to any of this stuff we're talking about, send it over to news@thejustjimshow.com. We'll try and get your commentaries up. If you know the toll-free number, actually, I'm not sure if that's up again yet or not. Anyway, if you know the number for the bunker at Lake Wish I Be Gone, give a call. We'll have you on the air. And we are planning some exciting, it depends on where you are, but in the thought train, some guests to come in and talk about the things that they know best. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. Hopefully my recovery keeps going and other people are good to go. And away we'll go. But anyways, send in the news tips to news@thejustjimshow.com. We'll be happy to read them on the air or laugh at them, whatever we decide to do. And you know me. Anyway, with the virtual private networks gaining hold over the last couple of years with the work at home theory, there came what is now some advertising guy sitting somewhere, Michigan Avenue or up in Detroit, New York somewhere, decided to put a name to the Great Resignation. You see all the help wanted signs all over the place. People are afraid to take the help wanted signs down. Some people get it, some people don't. Get the help they need. Anyway, Los Angeles, coming out of Los Angeles. So, whatever. It's called the Great Resignation. Americans aren't quitting their jobs like they used to. Why did people quit their jobs? Because some doctor, overpaid sons of a you-know-who, told everybody to stay home. Don't worry about it. Stay home. You're going to infect your dogs and cats and everybody else. Yeah. Fujiyami, I call him. Dr. Fujiyami. Oh, yeah. As the dust begins to settle on the COVID-fueled economic of the last few years, one pandemic-era trend appears to be on its way out, the Great Resignation. Who came up with that name? And somebody got paid a lot of money to come up with a name and then put out all these AP news flashes. Almost 50 million people quit their job in the last 2 years following the worst of the pandemic, citing pressures such as burnout, general job dissatisfaction, or child care or elder care needs. Amid a tight labor market, many were also able to find a better job with better pay. Oh, my goodness. A better job with better pay? Better benefits? What does that say about America's employers? Oh, the trend was also so prevalent that Beyonce even released a song about it. Well, heck, if that happened, it's got to be true. It's like seeing it on the computer, on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter. It's got to be true. Now, experts say the phenomenon is finished. 10 straight interest rate hikes by the Federal Reserve, slowing wage growth, stubborn inflation, and mass layoffs. Has your inflation been stopped? I don't know about yours, but mine hasn't been stopped here at Lake Wish I Be Gone. Stubborn inflation and mass layoffs in some industry may be causing Americans to stay put, meaning I'm here. The Great Resignation, by really any measure, is over, says Nicholas Bloom, a professor of economics at Stanford University who studies labor economics. Well, now it's coming out of a university. You know it's true. Stanford. Wait a minute, is that liberal? I don't know. The combination of a tight labor market and structural change from the pandemic catalyzed job reshuffling over the past 3 years. Welcome to the VPNs, getting all your information. They'll sell you a new job. Which, when we get to another story about schools and tests and what they do and don't do, you as parents who have kids in grade school, junior high, and high school are going to be amazed what's actually going on with the tests your kids are taking and you don't know anything about. The data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics bolsters Bloom's observations. The number of people quitting their jobs fell by 49,000 in April compared to March, according to the most recent numbers available, the Job Openings and Labor Turnover Survey. In fact, the so-called quits rate has steadily declined since last spring and now is virtually identical to pre-pandemic rate in February of 2020. Wow. Essentially, quits are back on the 2019 pre-COVID era. I'm going to tell you, if you're working from home or can work from home, do you figure that you're making a better living? Because you don't have to go in and put a mask on, or I don't know if employers are still mandating masks in their workplace or not. I see a couple of hospitals locally have dropped the mask mandate, though most employees still wear them. And part of me understands it. Part of me tells you, you're all full of you know what. It's funny because during the pandemic, we sold face masks with the JustJim Show on. Didn't sell too many of them because I think people were afraid to say, I'm wearing a mask, but I believe in what JustJim is saying. Anyway, in the most recent poll, consumer confidence from the Conference Board, 43.5% of consumers said they believe jobs are plentiful, and that's down 4% from just a month earlier. Well, you know, there are help wanted signs all over the place. I don't know what they're paying because I'm not in the job market. But if you believe in paying a living wage, that would be arguable of what's a living wage. But the old movement to make $14 an hour has prompted kiosks in every major fast food chain in America and a reduction in workforce. You go to McDonald's, got a big stand-up thing. You can order whatever you want, point, and it's you go shove your credit card in the thing, and it'll take your money. You walk over to the pickup line and get your food. So I don't know about this great resignation. People just are tired of a lot of crap, if you know what I mean. And along with that comes the ability. I got to say, on a personal note, I got a letter from the New York Sun the other day. That would be Alan Dershowitz. There it is, right there. Do I have it up here? Oh, I do. Yeah. Let me put it full screen here so you can see this thing. Yeah. There it is. Me, Just Jim, at the Just Jim Show, from Alan Dershowitz. For over 60 years in the legal profession, I've experienced firsthand the impact of both good journalism and bad journalism, mostly the latter, and just how important and rare it is to get things right. Get things right? There's truth and there's fiction. Excuse me. I got to take it. I think my voice is starting to fail. Part of my rehab. And no, I'm not like some political leaders that drink clear liquid out of certain bottles and containers. Not gin or vodka. In today's media landscape, there are far too many publications that get things wrong. Many are more concerned with the political implications of a story than the basic facts. Journalism. Who, what, where, why, when. Not interjecting your personal opinion. I do editorialism all during my show because that's my opinion of what I'm reading, not the cause or the who and what behind the story. The New York Sun is different. It's a paper that places principle over politics and people over party. From Blaze, my buddy over at the Blaze, Glenn Beck. The end of the dollar has begun. Feds to launch digital currency in July of 2023. You better know we're done if the digital currency goes through along with artificial intelligence. Another story. Its in-depth coverage of the legal challenges faced by President Trump serves as a case in point. When I defended President Trump during his first impeachment, I faced an avalanche of criticism, but few papers made sufficient effort to fully appreciate the significance of the legal arguments. Well put. If you remember back when, the Sun's deeply acknowledgeable leadership included its editor Seth Lipsky and associate editor A.R. Hoffman, who are themselves students of the Constitution. It shows in their coverage, which I find to be first rate. It would be no secret that you and I don't agree on everything, but that can be found in the Sun's pages. But I can say with confidence that its reemergence is among the most important recent development in American journalism. When's the last time you watched the news? My editorial comment. The last time you watched the news on any of the top 3 or maybe even 4 or 5 sources of news that you pick up. Just yesterday, I was over at a friend's house installing a Roku box because people are in droves leaving the major network feeds. They don't want to hear that stuff anymore. And I tend to agree. I mean, I do my own thing, but excuse me. It's hard for people that don't know where to go look. They always say, God, I wish I could get something else, or they fall into the, well, I heard it on Fox News or I heard it on CNBC. But there are networks, private networks, that have oodles and noodles of free news and commentary, more commentary than news, but they'll take a story and then expunge on it. And so journalism is sort of kind of dead. You know, there's Twitter. You get XYZ words that you can post on a Twitter account. Other than if you make a deal with Elon, you can go longer. I think he's go up to a maximum of 1 hour per stream. And I think you have to pre-make your videos and then just upload them. I think I can do that on YouTube too, which I'm going to start doing. If I start having bad days again, I'll just make them and upload them, and they'll be there when you want to watch them. Anyways, it says the Sun's success will be a gift to the American people and to the cause of truth. But to succeed, we need you to join us. I highly encourage you to join the Sun today. This is from Alan Dershowitz. He's a columnist over at the Sun. And I found it kind of interesting to be addressed to me, James at the JustJim Show, and a letter from there. So apparently somebody in the know likes some of the things that I've been talking about. And again, I've been off the air because of health issues, kind of serious, over at Mayo Clinic in Rochester back in February. And it was an experience. Albert, I will say this. I haven't talked to them about it yet, but you know where to go. I am totally impressed by that organization. Totally impressed with that organization. You know where to go. Mayo Clinic. People know their shit. Pardon my French. Where to go. There we go. Another quarter for the swear jar. But anyway, I appreciate many of the people who are constantly out there trying to bring a truth or an experienced editorial commentary on things that are going on. Don't throw them out in the garbage. You know, remember the old saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's not necessarily true, But ask yourself,
Hello, operator. Give me the number for 911.
is that what you're listening to? I might say, yeah, in the majority of times, the networks, especially local people, local TV stations, they get on the air and they want to have this national reach, not qualified because they're all rookies sitting at the news desk. About the most intelligent people on local newscasts are usually the weather people. They go outside, they look outside, oh, partly sunny today, going to be warm. And probably as close to the truth as you're ever going to get. No editorializing in that one. Sorry, you local boys, but your people are pretty stupid. They don't have a journalistic bone in their body. Okay, here's a comment. Let me get rid of this thing here. We're going to talk a little bit about. I can jump to this first. This is in Wisconsin, we love to party, have concerts, and they're all over the country. So we're not just picking on Wisconsin. But out of Cadott, here's the managing director of Chippewa Valley Music Festivals and what she has to say.
If you're attending this year's Country Fest, you'll experience a new festival policy. Starting this year, all festival goers must bring their personal belongings in a clear plastic bag. Any size bags are allowed as long as they're clear. Small purses and clutches are allowed but may be searched. The new policy is also in effect for Rockfest next month. The goal of the clear bag policy is to allow quicker admission for people attending the festival.
We always try to improve safety and other concerns on the grounds year after year to make the experience better for fans. And really getting through the gates is key for us. We want fans to get in the gates faster, and the clear bag policy makes that possible.
Officials are expecting 100,000 people to attend during the four-day festival. As News 18 has reported, Jeffrey Watring of Arkansas, Wisconsin, was arrested last year for making terrorist threats after bringing a homemade bomb to Country Fest. Cole did not say if the new security measures are related to that incident.
Okay, there you have that. Now, that kind of leads into, we talked about the Big Brother and the government agencies or private companies that are grabbing hold of a few things. And one might argue that a clear bag policy would be a good thing. Yet I'll suggest, just food for thought, is that a violation or an intrusion into your personal privacy that may or may not be guaranteed under the Constitution? Remember that? Where did I go with my Constitution? I got copies of it all over the place here. Somewhere I got one. And I'll wave it up in the air. You get pocket constitutions all over the place and should read them. That's a good thing. Ought to be a mandate in school. Oh, we have to have a history lesson on the Constitution. Wouldn't that be a novel idea? Which you're going to talk about in just a second. And going along with this is what might be considered an intrusion into your personal, life via your employer.
If you're a patient at Marshfield Clinic, the next time you have an appointment, you'll be asked what you do for work. And there's a specific reason why. These new occupation questions could help the clinic better diagnose and treat you.
If we know that job, we can look at that in the context of what that patient does with their time. And that to me is the key to a more nuanced question.
Medical professionals will ask the questions annually for anyone over the age of 16. The questions are optional for patients between the ages of 12 to 15. A patient is not required to answer and can decline the questions if they want to keep their medical history private. Patients will have a variety of occupations to select, ranging from agriculture to business. Bendixson says the data collected is not tied to health insurance information, and he says all Marshfield locations will implement the system within the next year.
Well, there you have that. Hang on, I go back here and get rid of this thing. And it's really not a medical, if you want to answer what you do for a living, it's not a medical issue unless it's a workplace medical issue, which would be workers' comp. That's why employers pay workman's comp, because if you get injured on the job, then they're responsible for the bill. Now, as a past, I don't practice anymore. I was a metallurgist at one time. Worked for a major manufacturing company in Wisconsin. I was also their last blacksmith. I used to pound metal. A great job. I did love it. But it was a dying, employment situation. So I went into the TV biz. Yeah. Anyway, chemicals in the workplace, injuries, slip and fall, hurt your hand, bust your knuckles, whatever it might be, depending on the industry you're in, you get workman's comp. So answering your job, what you do for a living, to me is not helping anything other than data gathering. Once again, back to the VPN chit chat. People want to, and Google, they want to know, they're so far up your you-know-whats that every little tidbit of your social life is being fed back to the machine. Pink Floyd comes to mind. But the artificial intelligence, which is gathered through the medical process, has to fall into place in especially the younger generations towards being pushed to a specific job description or job code. You have a compassion and caring for your fellow man, maybe you need to be in the medical world. But that's based on artificial intelligence and then pushed at you through your schooling, through your career counselor's input. But, excuse me. They'll be able to gather information through artificial intelligence sources in the school systems, which is available, which is what I talked about earlier, where we're going to go with tests that are being given to kids. Oh, I see a Constitution right behind me. Anyway, given what tests your children are being given, the answers are fed back into an AI conglomerate, and certain recommendations will be made for your child's future. But this in the workplace has nothing to do, unless, again, if it's an industrial accident or a cause that you're sick because of an industrial environment, will your medical doctor turn around and support you if you go back and file unsafe work conditions? Old union member here. I got my smiling face on the cover of Solidarity, God, 50 years ago. Because I was standing up for something that was right and correct. If the doctor doesn't stand up and support you for whatever the ailment is being originated in your workplace, your work job has nothing to do with your medical history. And I'm sure doctors will call me up or send me emails. You know, if you believe that I'm wrong and you know for a fact, not an editorial reason, show me to connect the dots about what that question actually will enhance your medical treatment. I don't buy it. Won't buy that thing. No, not in a million years at this stage of the game. And with that, we're going to go back to, or on to a little story that's happening out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. This article has a number of pointed directions that are not necessarily good. We talk about VPNs and being intrusive. We talk about medical questions being intrusive, and yes, they are. And then we talk about employers 86ing the ability for input. And on one hand, don't give the input. Don't talk about it because it won't really help you. It'll only hurt you down the road. Now, in an elected official capacity, school boards, specifically this topic, and school administrators are closing the door on communication. We don't want your information. We don't want you to know what your opinion is on what we're about to do. Oh.
Everything that guy just says is bullshit. Thank you.
It's coming out of Green Bay. The Green Bay School Board moves ahead with closing another school and explores other closures. The headline in the third paragraph in this article, the board did not have a public comment period. Stop the freaking presses. By law, because of the excuse me, physical structure of a school board, a city government, town government, whatever, they are bound by Robert's Rules of Order, second or first edition. And if you don't know what that is, that's how meetings are run, the agendas that are posted to have a meeting by the school board. It's bound by the directives of Robert's Rules of Order. And public comment or not, if people knew and understood Robert's Rule of Order, you as a citizen, an individual citizen, can put a halt to the entire meeting. Or they violate, much like we talked about the governor and the president violating U.S. flag code, they violate their own incorporated organizational structure. And I'll just go across this, and it's pitiful when I read this. Less than a month after the Green Bay School Board District Facilities Task Force, a task, here we'll make another committee, put it to committee, we won't have to deal with it at the moment, made its recommendation to the school board, members voted to move forward with planning to close schools and examine how equitable the recommendations are. You're going to hear buzzwords in this little topic: equitable, inequitable. And these are the people you've elected to sit and teach your children. Recent election here. After winning the election, there was this dose of reality. Oh, welcome to the Dose of Reality TV network. That person would not be able to understand or didn't know how the meeting process worked in a local town government as a board member, which is okay. Those are sometimes the things that help make government work. Not knowing what's going on. You find out and you go read the Robert's Rule of Order and you find out, oh, it goes this way, that way, this way. Now you understand how the process works. No notifications were made to the plan to shutter 11 schools and reshuffle student populations at over 20 district buildings. This says to me that you've had a school board running amok, not knowing anything, as I said earlier, it's all suggestions. We're just going to do what we want to do. We're not going to have public comment, and we're going to hire a third party to tell us what to do. Guess what? If you read the book that guides your job code, you'll know what to do. The board recommended the district move forward with planning the closure of Wickwick Elementary School. The board did not have any public comment period, moving directly into its action items of approving more staffing, awarding the bid for Southwest High Stadium entrance project, kind of like a local school district up here with a Hodag dome. We can't pay our bills, but we're going to go build a dome, a sports dome. Yeah, one of the most asked, and we'll put it on a referendum, make taxpayers pay for it. How's that? And voting on the facilities task force recommendations. Green Bay School Board could vote on school closures planned Monday, 2 days ago. Critics demand board votes no. Even if your child's school doesn't close, Green Bay kids might have to switch. Here they put 7 graphs out showing how they would make equitable student relocation. And then, if you look at the picture, a police officer, and another security person guarded the door to the meeting room. So, and Brown County, I've had run-ins with Brown Counties 25 years ago with all the spearing situations at boat landings in northern Wisconsin. Kind of pussified school board. Make sure that we got police officers, security people here, just in case parents get out of line, meaning they say something. Many wore white shirts. About 25 community members attended the meeting. Many wore white shirts, standing in solidarity with each other over the community's school being recommended to close. The board unanimously voted for the district to move forward with planning a 2024 capital referendum that would include the following projects. A referendum, school board referendums. Let's get more money. We're going to decide that we need to do X, Y, Z, but we can't afford to do it, so we need to get a referendum. And let's go to a discussion about shared revenue and school districts and educational facilities not having the money, quote unquote, to do what they need to do. They always rely on that. It's kind of like Democrats saying, well, we're the working man's party. Not necessarily the news. A new West Side Elementary on Kennedy's property. And you'd have to know Green Bay. A new West Side Elementary. Wait a minute. You're going to close schools, but you got a new West Side Elementary. Okay. Security upgrades at 7 schools. What happened to the rest of the schools? Modifying West High School to house part of the district office building. Addressing high priority maintenance needs. What priority needs are not being met now? But you're going to get a new school. You can't take care of the ones you got. Taxpayers will pay more money for it. The district will prepare a project list to share with the board on November 11th. So out of sight, out of mind. The board unanimously voted for the district to hire a third-party firm to do an equity assessment. Equity, buzzword for the 20s. Turning Franklin, McAuliffe, and Langlade schools into K-8s and the subsequent movement of students to different schools. Transforming those 3 schools to K-8s would impact 8 schools. Beaumont goes on to list them all. Leonardo da Vinci, love it. The district will also develop a transition plan for students who would be impacted by any changes. The district is tasked with proposing alternative sites for K-8 or the Webster Elementary or Washington Middle School, and potential sites that could be repurposed for a school for students with disabilities. So we're going to shuffle. That's interesting commentary, because the disabilities that run in students have been upped. If you look at the percentages of diagnosed student disabilities. And maybe another discussion. But the fight between psychiatrists and psychologists over what is classified in which school book or book of who and what is treatable for diagnosed disabilities. The psychiatrists won the argument over what disease belongs in which book or theater. And because the psychiatrist can write scripts for minors or for anybody, psychologists cannot write a script. ADHD and the subsequent disabilities went from being a psychology issue to a psychiatric issue. Hence, you get drugs. And now you need schools for your drugged up kids. So let's put them all in one building so they don't interact with quote unquote normal students. This is a government, a totalitarian government gone awry. The school boards, and they're all over America doing the same damn thing. And if you're not aware, parents are working so hard to get just pay the bills. Grandparents, get up off your keisters, off the couch potato, and go to these school boards. Start going to these school board meetings. Get on a list where you get an email for the schedule of school board meetings and make your voices known for your kids and grandkids. You speak for a couple generations. Make sure you know your voice is out there. The board authorized the formation of a boundary task force, quote, representative of the impacted communities, to evaluate the equity study and potential change for recommendations. Once again, the study would ensure, the study will ensure, but it's a third party. You're going to come in and blah, blah your ass. Equitable investments and cuts across the district communities. Equitable investments. There's that buzzword again. Boundary revisions. Board-approved educational pathways would continue, whatever that means. Resulting school populations are equally or more integrated than they currently are. More integrated? Oh, there's that other buzzword. And transportation isn't necessarily negatively impacted. 6 board members, I forgot how many were there. They voted to move forward with the closure. Some parents were left the boardroom crying after the vote. It goes on and on and on. And the final resolution was the district to plan closure of Tank Elementary. Love that name. We're going to tank the tank. Moving students to Fort Edward on Delsman Street. But board members voted to table a vote until June 26th to the June 26th board meeting. Let's see. School's out. Parents and families are on vacation for the summer. So let's not vote now while we have people here, or that they'll just pass it down the road so that nobody comes to the school board meeting, and then come fall, oh, when did this go through? Trust me, that's what they do, and it's an absolute devised plan. Weekly said she wishes she had more time to find a potential solution. And you're the school board. You can take as much time as you need. What is your problem? I want more time so I understand the needs. How dare you vote on something you don't understand is a need or not? Is it necessary? Is it paramount? Is it something inconsequential? Dr. Yoel Diaz, a Green Bay pediatrician and a member of the Northeast Wisconsin Latino Education Task Force, said the meeting was, quote, terrible. Absolutely ridiculous. They were not prepared. They did not know what they were doing. She liked the proposals that Lyerly came with and felt that the equity study and the boundary task force are a win for the Latino community. NULET, a grassroots volunteer community group. Used to be the PTA. Now there's all this sick committees. But my group of people need this. My group of people need that. Used to be a PTA, Parent Teacher Association. Green Bay School District Interim Superintendent Vicki Bayer takes notes during the school board meeting on Monday. She's taking notes. She's an interim superintendent. The district is facing a $20 million deficit, but we're going to get a new school. Does that sound familiar across any financial news that you might have heard with the Congress and Senate? Well, we've cut spending. No, but you want more money. We're just not as much money. If the district doesn't close schools, we'll have to look at staffing and programming. Oh, shit, Sherlock. There's a quarter. Staff pay and benefits make up 85% of the district's expenses. So let's see, 85%. So what's left? 15% gets to go to student education. I'm just saying, this is a school board that's so out of whack, and it happens in your community too. The interim superintendent sent the board a memo outlining other spending areas the board could consider revising class size policy. Well, instead of having only 18 students, we'll have 20. Paraphrasing. Reducing staff. Oh, novel idea. Closing the alternative school, which is currently housed at Minoka Hill. Changing employee benefits and eliminating legacy practices. As parents and grandparents, do you even know what the curriculum is in your schools? Let alone what your teachers are making? Pausing professional learning and conference attendance for employees. How many closed for school conference days do you have in your school district? Freezing salary increases, reducing extracurricular activities. They have until January to make that decision, blah, blah. But as it stands right now, they have to hire somebody to come tell them what to do. This isn't rocket science, people. Oops, sorry. Once he starts in July, he's going to examine the district's administration downsizing. Lynn Gerlach, the newest board member, said after less than 2 hours of discussion, she was ready to go home. Get elected to a job, but let's not stay and listen for the duration. Let's go home, she said, before the board had voted on anything. So there's a certain positivity to that. Maybe we should get out of here before they do something stupid. Without saying it. Yep. So anyways, they're going to go offload their decision-making process to some third party that I don't know which one it is, but I'll guarantee if I look at them, they're going to be a group of people, a company that gets paid a lot of money by school districts and other entities to do things that the school board is afraid to do themselves. And again, it's not rocket science. You have a ledger. Tax dollars gazinta, expenses go out. How hard is this to be? You don't necessarily need a new school. In the article, it said that student attendance is declining. We have that same in our district up here. Declining enrollment. But let's build a new Superdome that we can hold events. We just had one in there the other day, healthcare and this, that, and the other thing. The one shot, the video shot was, there were, I don't know, in a dome, and it's a big one. There were maybe 100 people, of which probably 25 or 30 were healthcare workers trying to get people to sign up for something, and empty tables all over the place. Oh, yeah. That belongs in the definitive from the No One Gives a Rainbow Unicorn Poop file. You got something to say, send me an email, news@justjimshow.com. We're always willing and able and willing to at least read your emails. I may laugh at it profusely, but you never know. And with that, we'll see if our clothes can get out of here. Don't forget, like and subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. Oh, I got one more here. I got one more thing I can do here before we go. Let's see what we got here. There we go. Here's a news brief.
A lot of graduating students may not be able to celebrate their big milestone this year, but that didn't stop Marshall Simons Middle School from holding a virtual promotion ceremony to honor their 8th grade students who have spent most of the semester attending school via remote video calls with their teachers. While the traditional MSMS promotion ceremony would be held at the school gymnasium with friends and family able to attend, this year's ceremony was pre-recorded in the Noreen Abadi Auditorium for everybody to enjoy in the comfort of their own homes.
You get that? It's pre-recorded. So you can stream it and watch it from the comfort of your own home. Welcome to VPNs and the other discussion. It's but we have, it's interesting. Just one short comment here. We have the national or international texting champion, not once, but twice, right here in the North Woods of Wisconsin. And when it was outlawed by school policy, district policy, to do or be connected online, anything that's not school related. And the check's hanging up in the local bar his dad owns. Here's a national champion. He got 50 grand, I think it was. But instead of doing schoolwork, he's out texting and winning money. So let's finish this virtual thing up.
Principal Carrie Purchase had this to say.
It would be easy for me to focus on all that you've missed because of a global health crisis that was completely out of your control. It is sometimes easier to dwell on what could have been instead of being content or grateful for what is, or to look towards what could be. So this evening, I choose to look ahead rather than behind and share my hopes for the class of 2024.
You can watch the full ceremony premiering on BCAT's Education Channel Thursday, June 18th at 8 p.m. and will play throughout the weekend. You can also find the ceremony on BCAT's YouTube channel on the same day.
As you are in the comfort of your living rooms and not in our packed gymnasium, feel free to celebrate as loudly as you'd like.
From the Noreen Abadi Auditorium at Marshall Simons Middle School, I'm John Vias for B News Weekly.
There you go. A pre-recorded hand clap. I don't know about you, but the disassociation and separation of people from the administrative side of the world that's teaching our children and grandchildren is absolutely askew. And this shutdown thing with Dr. Fujiyama and the president and all these other people, I'm sorry, I'm a non-vaccine person. It's a crock of crap. And it hurt America to its core. And we're now seeing things like that. And it's not good for America. Build back better. Or make America great again. Build back. Is there any difference between the two? And who said it first and who's copycatting? I don't know. I do care, though. And with that, I think we're going to let me try and find. Oh, there it is. Going to close the day with saying, hey, thanks for joining me. Take pause and think about what I talked about and how it relates to you and your day-to-day and your family, and be good to each other. We agree to disagree going in. There's no two ways about it. That's exactly what has to happen. Agree to disagree. And if you don't like something, learn how to change it. But be good. God bless. And show your support for something, not necessarily something that doesn't matter. Have a great day and a better tomorrow.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a defender. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to sacrifice everything, his fortune, his sacred honor, even his life, for liberty and something called inalienable rights that he cannot see but knows he cannot live without. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to ride a horse through sleepy towns in the dark of night, sounding the alarm, entreating neighbors to take up arms against an overwhelming force of wicked tyranny. So God made a patriot. God said, I need someone who, even after crushing defeats, rises up and stands tall. Someone who hears the clarion call that these are the times that try men's souls and does not shrink from the trial. Someone who will cross a frozen river in the dead of winter, when all logic and reason says turn back, abandon hope. So God made a patriot. Then God said, I need a man who knows of the rise and fall of great nations, who knows of human nature and the corrupting influence of power and the fragility of liberty. I need this man, along with his like-minded brethren, to write an enduring constitution. So God made a patriot. God said, I need a person, one person, who's willing to do whatever it takes, even write a book to confront injustice and spark a movement that would tear apart a people so that chains will rightfully be shattered and a blessed union eventually emerge. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who, with the love of family and for the love of country, will cross a vast ocean and storm a heavily fortified beach. And, if he survives, charge through 200 yards of bullets and blood across that merciless beach. And if he survives, scale the towering cliffs. And if he survives, begin the long march to free a continent. And if he survives, return home and, with the same resolute determination, rebuild a nation, and someday be called the greatest generation. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who will, without thought of self, invest in schools and scouts and church and community, so that the proposition that all men are created equal remains a beacon to enlighten the world, and that such a beacon shall not perish from the earth. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who will have the courage to not give up her seat on a bus and thus force a nation to confront its deepest divisions and heal the wounds and pursue the dream that inspires all hearts. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone strong enough to stand against any enemy, foreign or domestic, that would try to steal the freedom so dearly defended, the rights so righteously upheld, yet gentle enough to help a small child carry a star-spangled flag in a hometown parade. So God made a patriot. Then God said, I need a man who will speak the truth to his own leaders, that in order to preserve our great nation, we will not sacrifice the well-being of future generations for the sake of our own. Someone who will tirelessly toil day upon night, no matter the setback, no thought of surrender. Someone who will prayerfully rise every morning to climb the wall as a defender, duly endowed with the honored gift of generations before, while offering a solemn promise to generations ahead. A defender who will ensure that the way of truth and the torch of liberty remain forever lit in this shining city on a hill. So God made a patriot.
Okay, folks, show's over. Nothing to see here. Oh, my God, a horrible plane crash. Hey, everybody, get a load of this flaming wreckage. Come on, crowd around. Crowd around. Don't be shy. Crowd around.